So in other words, now you got to put yourself on Front Street. Let me come down your road, because in order for me to start this podcast and to get any kind of traction, I had to make an announcement. Yeah. One of the things that I didn't want to do, because if I made an announcement and told somebody I was going to start a podcast, guess what had to follow me making that announcement? I had to actually do what I said I was going to do, or else people wouldn't trust me. So when I came out and I shared my goal, that's my point. 76% of people who shared their goals actually reached their goals. So when I opened my mouth and said, you know what? I told my wife, you know what? I told my best friend, you know what? I told my mama, I told all those who were close to me, guess what? I'm starting a podcast. And then I put it on a worldwide platform on June 5th, 2024. I had to launch. You know why? Because I put it out there. Most people don't want to be held accountable. And go back 2 episodes before, to episode 5, I talked a little bit more about accountability. This is not today's episode, but this point it's applicable for this point I'm trying to make. Most people don't like to be held accountable, so they keep their mouths zipped. Yeah, most people don't like to be held accountable. They don't want you to know what they got going on next. I know a lot of times people say, oh, move in silence. Yeah, moving in silence, I get it, because you don't want people to deter you. You don't want to be distracted. I get that. But if you're moving in silence because you don't want to do what you know you're supposed to do, then guess what? I'm here to let you know. It's a strong statement, but you are out of order. If there's something you're supposed to do to help fulfill your purpose on the earth, if there's something that you're supposed to do to continue to fulfill whatever mission you have in your life, and you're being quiet because you want to delay it, because you think you don't have everything that you need to have, one of the things I've discovered, and this thing called consistency, oftentimes you don't have what you need to fully complete the task or the mission. But as you put one foot in front of the other, the path becomes more clear. As you put one foot in front of the other, I'm a living witness that there are people who will see you making some kind of noise, and they'll say, oh man, wow, you're doing that. Let me support you. And you saying to yourself, wow, I didn't even know that this person, because you weren't doing anything. They didn't have anything to support before you got going. So they never opened their mouths and said, I'm going to support, because what are they supporting? They didn't know that you were actually moving in that direction until you finally got moving. So here it is. The number one reason why people do not remain consistent is because, by and large, the average person is a poor planner. And we're not poor planners because we don't have the skills or the ability to plan. Oftentimes, individuals are poor at planning because they don't like to be held accountable. You know, I've heard somebody say, well, don't nail me down to a time. Let my schedule remain flexible. Because if they don't show up, they don't want you to hold them to it. Oh, I thought you were going to be here at 5. No, I told you, don't hold me to a time. I'll get there when I get there. Now, there are different situations and there are different reasons why. Let me go here as well. Sometimes people can't remain consistent for other reasons. I'm just giving you one reason, but there are other reasons why as well. Sometimes emergencies pop up. I get it. I remember one time I was on a particular diet. And I say diet very loosely because it was a lifestyle change for me. So I remember one time I was trying. In fact, on my lives on Friday, I talk a little bit more about how I lost 100 pounds at one point in my life. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much I gained back, but I lost 100 pounds at one point in time. I can remember on one of my one season in my life where I was trying to lose that weight. I can remember I got sick. I got sick because what this diet was requiring and asking me to eat or not eat, it was doing something to my system. So that threw like a little bit of a pivot in my way, because now I wasn't planning for that. So I had to pivot and do something else. So sometimes obstacles show up in our quest to be consistent that we didn't plan for. Sometimes we try to do something in our lives and we try to reach certain goals. And sometimes on our journey, things show up that we are not ready for. We don't have a backup plan for. We are caught off guard. And I get that. And I always tell people this, and I'll share this with you as well, because I don't think, and I know for a fact that successful people are not perfect. Successful people are people who see themselves veering off the road. You ever been driving on the highway and you hear those ridges on the side of the road? It's almost like you've fallen asleep, or maybe you were texting and you shouldn't be texting while you're driving. Hello. Or maybe something happened, you're having a conversation with somebody and you got really excited and you kind of veered off. Yeah, sometimes in your life, as you're trying to stay on that straight and narrow and go towards your goals or fulfill your dreams, on that journey sometimes, I know you veer off. But I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that I didn't remain consistent for 21 days or I didn't remain consistent for 30 days. I want you to rejoice in the fact that you had enough discipline to where you saw yourself getting off course and you got back on course. Consistent people are not perfect people. Consistent people are not robots. Consistent people didn't come from another planet. Consistent people see themselves getting off course and they say, you know what, this is not according to my plan.